the madmen are running the asylum, and they're running K through 12,
Yep.
the academia,
Yep.
publishing,
Yep.
increasingly clinical psychology.
Yep.
So we have a mental health crisis.
Who will actually intervene with their patients to correct wrong beliefs.
So, you admit that you're like vaguely right of center, and you get lectured for your cis white privilege, whatever, blah blah blah, word salad.
And now pay me.
Yeah, thanks for the privilege. Everything's a Maoist struggle session.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, entertainment's got a lot of this in it. The Oscars now have racial quotas in order to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of like gone back to the Dark Ages.
In the name of progress.
Well,
good racial quotas.
What do we do about this?
Yeah, no.
It's like, I believe that this is barbarism.
I got very depressed and anxious writing the book, partially the whole having a big target on my back, but also the, wow, how do we solve this? Particularly when I have to still deal with people who are like, no, there's nothing wrong here, And the people I'm dealing with are overwhelmingly relatively wealthy white elite people who
it's like Charles Murray, the ultimate canceled. He's got his great book, Coming Apart.
Yeah.
And it exists in the universe here because
Yeah.
it's like, if you live in the super zips where it's just like a bunch of, white elites that all basically are married and live like super conservative lives by today's standards of being like a nuclear family, sending your kids like to a parochial school.
Yeah.
All hold these luxury beliefs about.
Rob Henderson, yeah. I am under one of the reasons why we spend a third of the book talking about potential solutions while actually making people more depressed by giving examples all throughout is because we don't think there's any single easy solution. It's going to take an awful lot. So what's going on right now with a ton of particularly Jewish students understanding that the environment they're in has become completely groupthinky, and the groupthinky is
Proto-Nazism.
Yeah, that Jews are the problem in some of these places, and donors, thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, how about you massively fund completely new institutions? It's one of the reasons why I actually think ending legacy admissions would help. I think that in some ways, a lot of influential people feel very tied and bonded to their schools.
Yeah, they clutch their class rings like, my alma mater.
I have to give you a ton.
It's like,
I have to give you
a child.
I have
Get
to give you a
over
ton
it.
of money, but a little bit cynically, then I'll have a little bit of extra, a little maybe not in the front of their head, maybe more in the back. But if I'm a major donor and a legacy, it'll be easier for my kid to get in. If that was
to get into basically a fifth column terror cell.
if that pressure were released, and it should be, anyway, that essentially people should be. I think that the thing. Okay, a couple things about elite colleges. They have so much money you can't entirely give up on them because they're going to be here in 100 years and probably have an even bigger endowment.
One of the things that shocked me in the book was that I want to make sure this was correct, that I heard it right because I listened to it, was that it's like that. Was this the annual revenue of the university system is $1 trillion a year?
Oh yeah, no.
So it's the size of the economy of Mexico.
Yeah.
Is basically this lumbering, parasitic, administrator-filled woke hellscape. It's just like, bro.
Well,
it's like, right?
Very, very, very cross health spa as well.
Yeah. Well, we got lazy rivers, and we got nice apartments.
Yeah.
And accept communism as your Lord and Savior, and let's move on.
I think we need lots of reform. I think we need a lot of experimentation too. I think there should be students going to. I think like a mass exodus from some of the elite colleges would be something that they really need as a slap in the face. I also think that University of Texas at Austin cannot happen soon enough. There's also a
University of Austin.
University of Austin.
We're working with them on some things, and
yeah,
I'm a fan. Pano will have been on the show already by the time this comes out.
Nice. I always stumble a little bit on that because I don't want to make it sound too much like UT Austin. We talk about
UT Austin, which is actually kind of a disaster and really low on the ranks.
Oh, very low on the rankings.
Yeah. And I've heard stories from both faculty and students that are like, even in Texas. That's
sometimes
school regulated by the Texas legislature.
Sometimes especially there, because I remember actually discovering a school in Alabama that was like super woke, and I think that was in part because they kind of view their students as little savages. Like, and it actually made it a lot worse. Because it's not like the professors. I mean, this is something you hear on the left all the time. It's like, well, surely this rural college, you know, is really right wing. And I'm like, where do you think they're getting their teachers from? You know, like,
Right.
like
I've actually heard a theory that in like super red states,
Yeah.
that the campus is actually like intensified
Yeah.
because it's kind of like left-wing politics.
there's a word for that. Schismogenesis.
So this is, we're surrounded, we're like the blue dot in the Red Sea, and
Yeah, well, and it's also the polarization spiral. So, I mean, I've gotten sufficiently radical. I'm like, yeah, University of Texas at Austin, yes, fewer jobs need to have, we need to make it so that fewer jobs require a college degree. I actually removed the requirement for for people to have college degrees. I think we need low-cost, high-rigor ways that people can certify that they're super smart and hardworking. And I even went so far as to say, I wish there was like a test that more or less took like a liberal arts curriculum, required you to have a full understanding of all of it, and maybe 1 in 100 people can actually pass the test. But then you're actually saying that there would actually be a way to show for realsy that you might be one of the best and brightest out there.
well, no, but instead we have to strip all that away and strip away merit. And I mean, again, in the book you talk about this, like medical schools stripping away all the standards of merit, all the way up to like, will my neurosurgeon 20 years from now be any damn good, and how will I know except for checking on patients to see if they
Live or die.
like, where do we head?
Yeah, no,
We're like being, I do feel like, and I don't mean to be excessively negative, but there's the dam that has not yet broken.
Yeah.
And that dam is the old people.
Uh-huh.
The old professors, the old liberals.
Yeah.
Who are like, this is craziness. This like the barbarian hordes as they age, and if they don't moderate and grow the hell up, they'll be running the show. And then what?
Yeah, that's something that our research showed as well, is that the upcoming, cohort of professors is
Nuts.
More uniformly to the left, more intense, much less pro-free speech. And yeah, like that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I read these articles saying it's like, oh, we're past peak woke. It's breaking. I'm like, no. How can this actually be fixed if you're talking about universities that are getting less and less viewpoint diversity by the year? They're becoming more tribal. They're becoming more intensive and more detached from the rest of the world.
If you like this clip, we've got more where that came from. Be sure to watch the full video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our new videos as they come out each week.